Hi, ladies. I hope all is well. I am here with a very quick live because actually time for me to go to bed. But I don't know if you know, I am on my 365 days of creation goal, year, content, whatever you want to name it. And today is day whatever, however long I've turned a new age. I started on my birthday. So today is day whatever. And I wanted for today's creation, I wanted to do a live, a very, very quick one because I have to go to bed. But I was thinking of a situation or a conversation I had today at work, and it made me feel like I had something. Actually, okay, I don't know, people outside. It made me think of something that I wanted to share with you guys. I felt like it was something that could be useful to my audience, so I hope it is. I titled this out of binary out with the binary thinking because um, I was at work. I'm a teacher, if you don't know, and my one of my parents said to me, she asked me, she was first saying how young I look. And, I get that a lot that I look really young. So I was like, oh, okay, great. But I'm not that young, like, let's get that right. I'm not that young. And I just had a birthday. So I told her, and she had got me something for my birthday. So I was like, oh, well, I actually just turned 36. And it's funny how I left that apart. So she asked me first if I were, she said I looked young. And then she asked me, and I say, are you married are you married or you have children? And I was like, no, no, not yet. And she's like, oh, that's okay. You're very young though. And I was like, not that young. And I was like, well, I just turned 36 on that birthday that just passed. And she was like, oh, so she's like, why no kids? Why no, you're not married yet? No kids. And it's funny because before I told her my age, she was like, "Oh, it's all right. You young." And then when you tell her what age that you're actually mid 30s, it's like, "Oh, well, why haven't you done that yet?" So it's just interesting. Um, Same person, but I got judged differently depending on my age. We really have to stop with this age thing. I may have to do another video on that. We really, really have to stop with this age thing. But anyway, it's not the point of this video. So she says that she says like, why you haven't had children yet or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, I just haven't met the right person, you know, haven't met the right person. And in my generation, my people group, millennials, a lot of people are meeting online, and I'm not really against it, but I'm kind of old school as well. Like, I want to actually see the person, get to know the person. I've been very open to online. It hasn't given me much success. This is me talking to you now. I didn't say all this to her, to my parent. I'm at work, so I'm not getting into, and I wouldn't get into all that with a parent anyway. But yeah, I was just like, um, yeah, just haven't met the right person. Like, how did you meet your husband? And another parent was there, and I was like, how did you meet your husband? Like, it's just haven't come across the right person yet. And she kept saying, oh, she was like, well, you're not that much, like you and I are around similar ages. And then she was saying that I'm like her sister. She's like, yeah, you're like my sister. Like, my sister just, she's a certain age. She doesn't want to be like bothered. She loves her career and she's happy about that. And that's what she cares about. And I'm like, yeah, that's not me though. Like, that's not even my story. Yes, I do. I'm very accomplished. I'm glad to be where I am in my career, but that's not my story. Like, I'm actually just single and without children because I haven't met the right guy. Like, I haven't met the person that has similar goals and vision and all of the things I look for in a man. I haven't found it in the right person. That's why I'm still single without children, because why are you having children with someone that doesn't have the same goals and vision as you? So, yeah, if I haven't met that person, I'm not going to have children with just anybody. So, you could do that, and it's actually like a lot harder to do it that way because you're not on the same page. So, um, but yeah, she just kept saying like, yeah, you like my sister, you happy in your career, you single, you don't want no children, you don't want to, and I'm like, that is not my story. Like, so that was interesting. It was like, it has to be, that's binary, that either you're single and like this super feminist, I don't want no man, I don't want no kids, I just wanted my career and shop till you drop kind of caricature, or you're you're like married with kids and etc. Like, where's the space in that? So, and I'm like, I'm not either one, so that already is kind of binary. But when I'm talking about out with the binary thinking, for us single ladies, I'm actually, or just ladies, period. You ain't got to be single, but just ladies that are seeking to grow in their, what's the word? Awareness of themselves, grow in their mental, how they internalize what people say. Getting out of the binary thinking is this idea that either you tell your story and then you feel shame behind that, right? Because that was one thing I said, yeah, I'm this age and I'm single and I don't have children yet. And it's like, oh, well, like, you just don't want it, like, what's your problem, kind of thing. So then of course naturally that reaction will bring about some shame, like, well, even though I personally am okay with it and I have personally made peace with where I am in my life, like, I don't want anything if it's not time to have it, because I'm not trying to wish that I had just waited, right? How many people just jump into stuff and then they really come to regret that? I'm not trying to do that with my life, because I value peace. That's something that's in my set of values, peace. And so if something is not for me at the time and it's going to bring stress, then I don't want that. So that's one thing. But the reaction is like, personally inside, was like, okay, well, why did you tell her that? Because now look, you feel shame because of course you're getting judged a certain way. And I'm like, okay, that's one thought. That's one way of approaching that, one way of internalizing that. Or the other thing that came up was, well, if you hadn't said anything, if she had just thought that you were like in your mid 20s and without children, then you wouldn't feel shame. So in other words, if I didn't tell my story, I wouldn't have felt shame. If I told my story, then now I got to deal with the shame. And I'm like, that's binary. Don't tell my story, right? Don't clarify for her the truth of who I am, that I'm not in my mid 20s. Thank God. I don't want to go back to my 20s. I'm not in my mid 20s and childless. And I'm not someone who's in their mid 30s and married. Neither one are true. And so if I had just kept quiet, then it was like, well, you wouldn't feel shame, because she needed to say, well, you're still young, you don't have nothing to be shamed about, or you're older, but she doesn't know if I'm really older, and she doesn't know my circumstances, if I have children or not. And I'm like, but neither one is authentic to me, because I'm saying I need to not tell my story. I need to shut down just to be socially accepted by this person. Or I need to, what's the other way? Don't tell my story, be socially accepted. Tell my story, but then feel shame behind it. And I'm like, no, there's a third option. Tell your story and feel nothing. Tell your story and feel no shame at all. Why? Because what you got to be ashamed about? That's the problem right there. You could tell your story and still feel no shame. You can be authentic to who you are and live in it without fear and without fear of judgment and what people are going to think. Why? Because there's absolutely nothing to be ashamed about. I might have to throw this on the podcast if I even still have an audience, but I think people still there. What you got to be ashamed about? What's wrong with being who you are? What's wrong with being in your mid 30s and not having children and a husband yet? The world will try to make you feel bad about that. And because the world says that's weird, then you internalize it and you won't even share your story because that's weird. But then what a disservice to you. Who's missing out on the blessing because you're not talking? Because you're worried about other people and what they're going to think. Who loses in that? What about just the fact that you're human, a whole human being, and you deserve to show up as you are unapologetically? I'm tired. I can like barely talk. I'm telling you, y'all, it's been a week. I have been so drained, like wobbly drained, tired. But I had to come say this because what a disservice I did to myself at that moment, feeling shame because this parent says, oh, you must just be like, you don't want it and da 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 da. Or you're really young and that it's you have time. And when she found out neither one were true, then it was like left with to feel uncomfortable about who you are. And yeah, no, those days are over. Like, we need to speak out more because that is the world's thinking that there's something wrong with you for being mid 30s and single and no children and not fitting a particular mold of being a woman in her mid 30s with a husband and children. People think that the world doesn't see that as okay. And the only way they will begin to is when they see women who are like me, because there's a lot of us, shout out to y'all. There's a lot of us. When more people say, yeah, this is my story. And I stand 10 toes down on that. I'm not young as you think. I know I look tired on camera, but those who have seen me and know me in person, I look like max 24. So me having to correct, like I'm actually a decade older and some. And yes, I still don't have children and I'm not married. Like, now what? And I'm still exactly who I am. And I was just like, no, I want to, again, my values are peace, calm, tranquility. Those are my values. So I'm not going to jump into something that gives me the opposite of that. Hence the reason I'm trying to change my life right now, because I'm in some things I have to be in for money, like this job. But it conflicts with my values. I value autonomy as well, time, freedom, and they conflict with I don't control my time. Like right now, I might want to talk. I gotta go to bed because I have to get up and go do what somebody else tells me to do for a paycheck that, while it's good on paper, it don't match what I truly deserve and the value I truly bring to my job. So I want to control my own time. And that's why I'm working on some things. But Get out of binary thinking. You don't have to be quiet about your story to make the world feel better. And you don't have to speak and then internalize shame and be uncomfortable because you told your story. There's a third option. Third option is tell your story and be completely comfortable with who you are, because there's nothing to be ashamed of. You know your journey. You know exactly why you are where you are, whether you want to be there or not. You know where you are, where you're going. You have vision, and you're going to get what you want because you know where you want to end up. This woman thought I was max 24, so she already didn't know me. So I'm like, why in the world am I feeling shame behind what some person who doesn't know anything about me feels about my story? My story's mine. And I'm finally in a place where I am willing to embrace and love that story. And I can't go back to those days of being ashamed of my story. My story is mine, and no one else can put a narrative on my story. I'm grateful for my story. Hasn't been easy at all, but I'm grateful for my story because, as I said, I don't want nothing that's not right for me at all. In fact, I'm waiting to see how things unfold and what's right for me. And I can say, oh, God brought that person into my life. I didn't do that. That's what I'm waiting for, because I don't want anything in my life that's going to do me harm. And sometimes when you're unhealed, your picker is off. So if I picked back 10 years ago, my picker was off. If I had picked when I was 30, my picker was off. The person I am today is better to pick. And the beautiful thing is, I'm saying, God, bring that person, and then give me the assurance that that's the person and I choose them. So it's a partnership. It's not even just me doing it alone. I didn't have that awareness and that understanding when I was in my mid-20s. When I was 30, I was trying to survive. I was trying to get on. I was trying to be successful, all the while still wanting a relationship, but fully understanding that I wasn't ready to be that person. There was more that needed to be done for me. And not in a and ladies, I don't even want you to feel uncomfortable with saying that I wasn't ready to be that person. That's not a knock on you. What I'm saying is, there was more for you to get out of your life before bringing someone else into it. I don't know about you, but I was a worker bee. I was a server bee. I grew up in a household that what you did was for others. It wasn't for you. That was subconsciously instilled in me because I made sacrifices for other people. So that was the narrative I was running on, even moving out of my mother's house at 24, that I was a vessel for others. And it took now here 12 years. Didn't start, it actually started my healing journey really at 31 31. I got into go listen to my podcast. 32, I really started my healing journey. 2021. Into 2021 was when I realized something's got to shift here. Something's not right. 2022 is when I started my healing journey. So just 3 years ago, wow, that time. So that was actually 33, turning 33, 32, turning 33, just 3 years ago. Okay, so when you think about it that way, God has given me 3.5 years of not being worker bee, not being servant bee, not being a vessel for others. God has given me very not, I don't want to say hard, I don't want to say blissful. What's a middle word? He's given me 3 years of learning to build in and pour into myself. And I like that he doesn't want to interrupt that yet. That's why, again, we got to get over shame, because no one knows your story. No one knows that you are how you grew up. Nobody knows that maybe you had to overcome so much that you got some battle wounds on you and some scars and some things that you got to work on before you even want to jump over there. I'm enjoying learning that life has to benefit me too. Okay. That's not something I grew up learning. That's not something that I experienced even moving out, because even moving out on my own, I had to build a life that worked for me practically. So I can spend time learning about what I actually wanted to do, not a lot. I spent most of my time trying to figure out, how do I now pay these bills? How do I now support myself? Okay, I graduated from college. I don't live with my parents. How do I now make something happen for me? So this is really the first time in my life, this decade of my life, in my 30s, where I am actually learning that life is for me as well. And why would God get me there just to immediately say, boom, okay, here's a husband and children, where then you're going to learn the opposite, that it ain't about you, right? It's supposed to be about you when you're young, then you get older, you have your children, you get married, then you realize, okay, this is about other people. But for those of us who life happened in reverse, you grew up not feeling like it was about you when it was supposed to be. Out of your control, nothing you could do about that. But now you can reclaim your time and make it about you. Why would you want God to interrupt that right away? Because what? The naysayers are going to say, why are you in your mid-30s with no children? It's about you right now. This is a you season. I'm in my you season. I'm in my me season. And I'm liking it. And I want God, anytime you're ready, Lord, interrupt. He knows. He knows. He knows what my birthday wish was. Anytime you're ready, Lord, interrupt. But in the meantime, I'm gonna continue doing me. I'm gonna continue being in me season unapologetically. Because you don't have to hide your story and get the world's approval, or give your story and be embarrassed by the world's comments. You can actually tell your story and be comfortable with you and who you are. So I just wanted to encourage you guys with that. That was something that came up for me today. I was going to journal it, and I actually am glad that I did a video, because this binary thinking, it will have you feeling bad about yourself when there's nothing wrong with you and your journey. Honor your own journey. My journey is mine. It's not hers. It's not that parent. It's nobody else's. My journey is mine, and I'm reclaiming my journey. So I look forward to it. I hope my life develops in the way better than my wildest dreams, because sometimes I realize, girl, you dream too low. I think my dreams are high. You dream too low, okay? So I don't even pray for my wildest dreams. Better than my wildest dreams. His ways and his thoughts are higher than ours. And that's what I want. And I look forward to it happening in his timing and when it's supposed to happen. I don't want it if it's not ready. I don't want it if he ain't ready, if the guy ain't ready, if the children ain't meant to come, right? Everybody have a birth date, and everybody was meant to be born when they were born. So you don't know what the holdup is. But live your journey. Your journey is your journey alone. And no binary thinking can take away from what it is, the vision you have for yourself and how you feel about how your life is developing. So you've gotten to a place where you love your life and you love your journey and you love where you are. I'm going to encourage you to keep with it. Forget what the naysayers say. Keep with it because you're on the right track. And I look forward to seeing where your life develops, as I look forward to seeing where mine goes. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. That was way more than a quick one, but I love doing this. So hopefully I can soon build that life where I can control my time and go as long as I want without the caveats. So thank you for listening again. I'm going to post this on my podcast and I will see you guys next time. No binary thinking. Bye.